Namaste, I'm Dr. Robert, and today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is Atman. Atman is a Sanskrit word that comes from the root Tman, and Tman means air or prana. It means breathing. And so it is very similar to the concept of prana, and we can even think of, in the context of living beings, in the context of the element, the panchabhautic world in which we live, that we and every other living being experiences prana as the supreme soul, because that's how Atman has come to mean in Sanskrit. It means the soul, that which is beyond, it is more subtle than everything. And we can look, and it has been looked at for many millennia now, that there is a difference between the Jivatman, the individual embodied soul, and the Paramatman, which is the supreme soul. And there are many different opinions that have been argued and are being argued about whether the individual souls are multiple, or whether they're only manifestations of the one, or whether they are temporary manifestations, or whether they are completely figurative and not even actually existent. But we don't need to think about that right now. What we need to understand is that as embodied beings, we have in ourselves a fragment of that supreme reality, and that's why we can mirror that supreme reality. However, whatever the ultimate mechanism is, we don't need to bother about. What we do need to bother about is to remember that simultaneously we are both the supreme reality, because we're part of that supreme reality, and we possess that fragment of the Jivatman of that supreme reality, and at the same time we're individuals. There is the ultimate relationship between them may be something else, but the immediate relationship is that we have both that reality of being an individual and still being connected to the supreme reality, and at the same time ultimately being connected to the supreme reality. And a lot of what spirituality actually is for human beings is aligning our individual souls with that supreme soul, and then finding a way to progressively allow ourselves to become more open to that supreme soul, to reflect it better, to embody it better, to allow it to radiate through us to other individuals, other jivatmas that may not be able to be as open to, as aligned with that supreme reality. So when we look in one of the Upanishads and it says, Atma kridaha, Atma ratihi, Atma maitunam. So that word Atma is Atman in a different case ending. Atma kridaha. Krida means play, but in this case it means love play. So when you're spirituality, there should be a certain amount of flirtatiousness and love play with the supreme Atman. Atma kridaha, Atma ratihi. And then Atma ratihi, rati is even a little further than krida. It's much more, now it's serious romance. Now it is serious foreplay with the supreme reality. And then Atma maitunam. Then there is coitus, then there is connection, then there is union with that supreme reality. So from one point of view, that's what spirituality actually is. A union of, a marriage of the individual and the supreme. This is Dr. Robert. Om.